What gets easier the older you get? Understanding why people of X age acted the way they did. Sitting for a long time. When we used to drive to the cottage as kids, the drive seemed incredibly long and boring. Now, the same drive feels like 5 minutes. Having people take you seriously. That's a bell curve. People in their 40s through around 77 get taken seriously. Once you hit 78 or so, people start to assume that you're at least a little bit senile and become very condescending. Not giving a shit. In particular, not caring what other people think about me. In your younger years you are consumed with trying to identify yourself in the eyes of others, but as you get older you start to realize how little it matters what other people think and much more what you think. Also you realize that a lot of stuff that felt huge when you were younger is actually just bollocks and not worth giving a shit over. Ironically, taking naps. Self-acceptance and not being devastated by the negative opinions of others. Waiting. The years go by faster, so waiting didn't seem so bad. Much easier to fall out of touch with people. So many friends have become acquaintances. It's depressing. Gaining weight. High marks. I was changing careers and went back to university for a year when I was 38. I couldn't believe the marks I ended up with. A plus average. I think it was a combination of having a work ethic this time around and just flat out knowing more stuff. Edit. For those of you suspecting it is just grade inflation from some little private college. This happened 15 years ago at a big well-known Canadian university. Not saying grade inflation doesn't exist everywhere. But definitely the ingrained work ethic from years of having a job made a big difference in my case. Mocking the young. Edit. Excuse me. Did you say youts? Unfriending people on Facebook. Just quitting Facebook altogether. Talking to people. I am in no way intimidated by anyone now. People are people. Just that and no more. We are all a bundle of accomplishments mixed with failures. Things we take pride in and things that embarrass us. I used to get so nervous talking to people. But now that I am 51, it's not a problem to see that we are all the same. Being naked. I had such ridiculous changing anxiety in high school gym class that before class, I'd put my gym shorts shirt on in a bathroom stall and put my uniform over it to avoid getting undressed in front of people. Nowadays in my 30s I have no problem getting naked in front of a dozen random strangers in the gym locker rooms 4 days a week. I still get dressed as quickly as possible and appreciate the fact that my gym has shower stalls instead of a big open shower room. Which explains old dudes lounging around the locker room naked. Just chatting up other people. Shaving. Walking around. One of the clubs I go to has a jacuzzi inside the locker room. There are always a bunch of naked dudes in it. I've never really understood shaving inside a locker room anyway. Maybe people just have insane schedules that don't allow them to do it at home. Complaining about poor customer service. Back in my day. Oh, for FCK's sake, grandpa. Dying. You'll be amazed how easy it is to kill a baby though. Talking about what you feel like talking about. Even if it's not of interest to others, and repeating the same stories often. Our self-knowledge increases. An expanding awareness of our strengths and vulnerabilities helps us endure difficult times with more equanimity. We are not buffeted around so much by other people's opinions about the choices we make and our overall sense of what we should do with our lives. It becomes a pleasure to stand our ground in tricky situations. Not out of stubborn pride but because we finally know who we are. Cooking. The ability to take whatever you have on hand and transform it into something tasty. It also helps that as you get older, you tend to buy basic ingredients every time you go to the grocery store, instead of prepared items. Existential dread. Exercise. When you're young, your peers can binge on beer and pizza. Wake up at noon. Watch SportsCenter reruns all afternoon and still look hot. Where's the incentive to exercise? Fast forward 20 years. It's easy to find motivation when you look to the left. Look to the right and see that all your peers now look like shti. Better hit the pool to avoid that fate. Then when I see the beer gut brigade into the hot tub, it inspires me to swim even harder and longer, lest I become like them. Being patient. Living the life you want. I had a happy childhood, but ultimately I found it frustrating that others can dictate what you do with your time, what you eat and when, etc. Nowadays, yes, I have a job, but no one makes me conjugate Spanish verbs in the evenings or eat squash or whatever else. And that's pretty awesome. Buying alcohol. Shutting people down with a mere look. You learn to develop a glare that non-verbally communicates stop what you're doing right the hell now. I'm not having it. Develops faster if you have kids. But everyone gets it eventually. Going to bed earlier. I'm 26 now. I remember during my mid to late teens I was falling asleep at like 1 to 2 am. Now it's in bed by 10:30. Asleep by 11. Learning how to deal with death. Not having a sex. When you're young it's frustrating. The older you get the less you give a shit.